At a Senate Armed Services Committee confirmation hearing on November 4th, Senator Rosen questioned Michael Borders, Jr., nominee for Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Energy, Installations, and Environment, about veterans exposed to toxic chemicals during their service. She pressed for transparency and accountability so affected veterans can receive the benefits they deserve.
I have constituents who have served in data mass locations within the Nevada Test and Training Range. Data mass locations. It means that nobody ever gets to know they actually were there. I know that all of you understand this. They believe they were exposed to radiation from our days of conducting explosive nuclear weapons testing and from toxins in burn pits. However, the DoD does not classify the range as a place where contamination occurred, despite the Department of Energy providing a presumption of exposure for their personnel who served at the same exact time in the same locations on the range, because we have both DOE and DoD at co-equal in these kinds of tests. Locations in the range, such as Tonopah Test Range, it's both the DOE and Air Force installation. And because their service records are masked, these veterans, our veterans, can't even prove to the VA they were ever stationed there, can't talk about it. This leads to denial of benefits while DOE employees are covered. The Senate NDAA contains a few of my provisions, thank goodness, to address this issue, including classifying the knitter as a place where contamination occurred, requiring the Secretary of the Air Force to identify everyone who served within the knitter since the date of the first nuclear test on January 1951. Or in January 1951, establishing a process for them to provide proof of their assignment, and requiring the DoD to document all toxic exposures, including those that occurred domestically, into a service member's ILR. It's critical that these folks get their benefits. So, Colonel Borders, if confirmed, will you work with me in this committee to ensure that the Department of Air Force does a couple of things? First of all, provides a presumption of exposure at relevant Air Force installations, classifies them as locations where contamination occurred, and such as those places where the Department of Energy has already done so for their personnel, we would have parity with the Department of Energy in this classification.
Senator, if confirmed, you have my commitment to work with you in this committee to bring about some transparency and really get after the heart of this, which is the safety and health of our airmen, guardians, and their families. Absolutely.
For more congressional news, stay tuned to Congress Clips.